Good morning, student. We are going to study about the major physiographical divisions of India. In the previous one, we have studied about the plate tectonics, how the plates they move when they are moving, they form different landforms, and one such landforms that they are being formed, they have formed during different geological periods, and they are also influenced by the relief features. So the process of weathering, erosion and deposition, they have resulted in the formation of various features of a country. Now in this topic we are going to study about the physiographical features, that means physical features of physiographic means physical features of India. Now they are main grouped under Himalayan mountains, the northern plains, the peninsular plateau, the Indian desert, coastal plains and island groups of India. So we are going to study about all those topics one by one. We are going to cover in today's slide work is about the mountains and the northern plains. Now Himalayan mountains, the main features, that is the main benefit of, what are the benefits, main benefit we are going to study, then we are going to learn the physical formation of the Himalayan mountains. Now the benefit of Himalayan mountain, that means they are providing us the benefit that they are lofty and impassable, so it is not easy to pass, so that is why they act as a natural barrier on the northern border of India. Besides these, the mountain ranges of Himalayas, they keep the fertile plains of northern plains, that is the Ganga, Brahmaputra and Indus Valley. These plains they are being kept fertile from the Himalayan mountains, from the cold and bleak winds that are blowing in the upper area of that is in the northern part of India, that is in Tibet, China and Mongolia. So these winds are not coming or entering into India just because of the Himalayan mountains. And besides this, the Himalayan mountains are also a source of perennial rivers, because as we know, the rivers that are flowing in the northern plains, they are coming from the mountain ranges, glaciers, and they are the main source, and they are perennial, that means they are flowing permanently, that is why they are called perennial rivers. So that is the benefit of the Himalayan mountains. Now features, physical feature of Himalayan mountain. First of all, the Himalayan mountains, they are geologically young and structurally fold mountains. They looks like folded, that is why they are layers, three layers are there because of the folds that are being framed, as we have studied in the previous slide, that the mountains, the Gondwana land, when it was moving upward, it collided with the Eurasian plate, and because of that, mountain ranges that are in the northern part of India, Himalayan mountain is one of it. So they stretch over the northern border of India and they form an arc. An arc shape is being formed, that means they are forming like an arc, they stretching over the northern borders, and the distance that is covered by it is about 2400 kilometer. But the width of Himalayan mountains, it varies from 400 kilometers in Kashmir to 150 kilometer in Arunachal Pradesh. That means the width is more in Kashmir, that is the western part of Himalayas, and it is less in the eastern part of Himalayas. So western part of Himalaya is in Kashmir, and the eastern part of Himalayas is at Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, now these mountain ranges, they run in east west direction. That's why we are studying from the east and west. Okay, so they are running in the east west direction from Indus river, that is flowing in our upper part, north part of India, to the Brahmaputra river, that is flowing in the eastern part of India, that is Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, and then it's flowing down to Bangladesh. Okay, now the altitudinal variations in Himalayas, as I'm telling you, that it is greater in the eastern half than those in the western half. That means variations, that means the mountain peaks that are in the Himalayas, they variations we can check, they are more in the eastern half than in the western half. The Himalayas, they consist of three parallel ranges in the longitudinal extent. The number of valleys, they are lying between these ranges. So the three ranges are there, and the valleys, they are lying between these three ranges. Okay, now first range, that is the southernmost range, uppermost range of the Himalaya, is known as Inner Himalaya. It is also known as Greater Himalaya, and it is also called Himadri. So three names are there. We will know why it is called Himadri, as it is covered with snow. Okay, so it is the most continuous range. It is almost continuous, there are limited gaps between it. It is having an average height of about 800 meters height, average height, not the maximum height but average. We are taking out the average of all the mountain peaks, so it is about 6000 meters. It contains almost all the prominent Himalayan peaks like Mount Everest, Kanchenjunga, Makalu. Some of them are in Nepal. Kanchenjunga is in India. Mount Everest is and Makalu is in Nepal. Nanga Parbat is in India, and Nanda Devi, Kamet, Namcha Barwa. These mountain peaks are in India. So they are certain. Their height is also mentioned here. Now, the most of as I have told earlier, that why this range is called Himadri, because it is covered with snow uh, all around the year. That is why it is called Himadri. Now, the core of this part is composed of granite. That means it is hard in the core center, and the fold of Himalayas is asymmetrical in nature. That means the folds that are being formed, they are not symmetrical. That means they are not equal, they are asymmetrical. Somewhere the folds are more, sometimes some other place they are less, so they are asymmetrical in nature. Now second range, Himachal or Lesser Himalayas, they lies to the south of Himadri, and they forms the most rugged mountain system. So Himachal, they are composed of highly compressed rock with height weighing from 3700 to 4500 meters. So that is the height variation of the second range, that is Lesser Himalayas or Himachal Himalayas, and the average width of this range is 50 kilometer. Now this range is composed of ranges like Pir Panjal, Dhauladhar, Mahabharat. These are the ranges of Lesser Himalayas, and this range, that means second range, it also consists of some of the well known valleys, hill stations of this area like Kashmir, Kangra, Kulu. They Kashmir lies in Jammu Kashmir. Kangra Kulu it lies in Himachal Pradesh. Masuri Nainital it lies in Uttarakhand. So these are the ranges and the valleys for which this range is famous. Now, third range is Shivalik range. It is the outermost range, that is, it lies in the south of the mountain ranges of Himalayas, and it is that's why it's called the outermost range of Himalayas, with the height varying between 900 and 1100 meters. The average width of this range mountains is about 10 to 50 kilometer. They are composed of coarse sediments that are brought down by the river from the main Himalayan ranges. So when the rivers they are flowing downwards, they are carrying the sediments, and the sediment that was coarse, that means thick, they are deposited by the rivers in this range. So the valleys on this range they are covered with thick gravel and alluvium. So the valley here in this third range, it is covered with thick gravel and alluvium, and because of that longitudinal valleys are formed between the lesser Himalaya and the Shivalik. That means valleys are formed, as I have told you earlier that the valleys are famous. So the valleys between the both last two ranges, that they are known as dunes. That is why there are certain names are being given, that is Dehradun, Kotli Dun and Patli Dun. So they are the some of the famous valleys. uh, they are dunes, not sand dunes. So this is dune, not sand dune. Okay. Now, beside the longitudinal three parallel ranges, Himalayas are also divided according to the regional divisions, and this regional division of Himalaya is done on the basis of the rivers that are flowing. So the rivers that are flowing in the Himalayas, because of the river that is flowing in that area, their demarcation is being done. The demarcation means the division of an area, if it is done by the river valleys, so they are also named by those river valley system. So number one is, there are main valleys are, number one in the west, we are starting from the west again, the part that is lying between Indus and the Satluj river, they are known as Punjab Himalayas. They are also known as Kashmir and Himachal Himalayas by the local people. So these names are also been given to them. Now, part of the Himalayas that is lying between Satluj and Kali. So first part was lying between Indus and Satluj. Second part, it is lying between Satluj and river Kali, and this area is known as Kumaon Himalayas. Then from Kali river to Tista river, it is known as Nepal Himalayas. Now Tista to Dihang. Now Dihang river is flowing in Arunachal Pradesh. So this area is known as Assam Himalayas. So this is the regional division of Himalayas. So that is the second type of division of Himalayas by the rivers. Now beside this division, there is an eastern range of the Himalayas also, that is also called Purvanchal. So the Brahmaputra river that marks the easternmost boundary of the Himalayas. After that there is a Dihang river that is entering into India from Tibet, China part. So when it is entering into India in Arunachal Pradesh, there is a curve, and that curve that is made by the river, it is known as George, and that George is quite deep, and this George divides the Himalayan ranges from the Purvanchal or eastern range. So beyond the Dihang Gorge, this range of Himalayas it turns south along the northeastern boundary of India, and these hills are mostly composed of strong sandstones, which are sedimentary rocks which are covered with dense forest. So mostly this area is covered with dense forest. This range run almost parallel in ranges, so they run as parallel ranges. They are like standing ranges, and there are valleys also. So they are, that is why they are called Purvanchal, and the hills that are a part of this range is Patkai Hills, then Patkai, below Patkai Hills it is Naga Hill, then afterwards it's Manipur Hills, and then last of all it's Mizo Hills. So these are the part of Himalayan mountain ranges of India. Now Garo Khasi and Jaintia Hills, they are not a part of Himalayan ranges. We are going to study them as a part of plateau area. So they are not a part of Himalayan ranges, as you can see them in the Meghalaya. Okay, now northern plains. The northern plain of India, as we know, they are formed by the three river system. We call them three river system because the main river along with its tributaries and the distributaries, they form the main part of the river system. What do you mean by river system? We are going to study this in our next chapter, that is drainage. In a We will cover up them in that chapter. So we have to just learn that northern plains, they are formed by three river system. That is, again we are moving from west, the Indus, then Ganga, and then the Brahmaputra river and their system, that is tributaries and distributaries. The northern plains, they are formed by alluvial soil that deposited in the vast basin area that was at the foothills of the Himalayas. That means lower part. Foothills means they were lying at the foothills of the Himalayas, and slowly and steadily the formation of the northern plains was being made. So we have studied in the previous slide that how northern plains are being formed. So when the rivers, they were flowing from the mountains, they were carrying the deposit. The thicker one was stopped in the passage, and the remaining one, that is alluvial part, was carried by the river, and they were deposited in this area. So this fertile plain has been made over millions of years, and it is spread over an area of 7 lakh square kilometer. These plains are about 24,000 kilometer long, and they are lying between 240 to 320 kilometer broad. That means everywhere the plains are not in the same width. It They are varying from 240 to 320 kilometer. There is a variation in the broadness of this plain area. This area is densely populated due to the fertile soil, as we know, the soil that is carried by the river. Water supply is proper because the rivers that are flowing are perennial, that is, they are flowing all throughout the year. That's why they are called perennial. full of water supply throughout the year, and also favorable climate and terrain. That means terrain means physical feature is flat, so it is easy to cultivate, easy to live. That is why this area is densely populated. Most activity that is being done here is agriculture. Most of the civilizations that flourished, they were around the river basin area, so that the river originating from northern mountains, they slow down, and when the river slow down due to the gentle slope, if there is a slight slope, it results in the formation of riverine island. Riverine means when the island is formed in the mid of a river, when a river is flowing, and if in between a island is being formed, it is known as river island. Majuli is the largest inhabited river and island that is formed in the Brahmaputra river in Assam. It is the largest one in the world. And besides this, when the river splits into number of channels in its lower course means when the river is about to enter into sea or a ocean, that is the lower course of a river. When it splits, when the river is moving towards ocean or sea, and it splits because of the slope is not it is a gentle slope, so because of that there is a deposition of silt, and when silt is deposited at the lower course, it results in the making of channels that is called distributaries. So the distributaries, they are a common feature only where the river forms a delta. So delta formation is there in the eastern coastal plains of India, not on the western part of India. Okay, so this is the what how the northern plains are being formed. Now there is a parts or sections of northern plains also. First they are formed by the river system. Now there are sections, that means division of the northern plains is there because of the deposition of the silt that is being done along its width. It is divided into four sections. Number one, it is known as the three parts are there. First of all, there are three parts. That is, the western part is called Punjab plain. We have studied that physical division of sections means physical division of plains. So first plain is being formed by Indus river and its tributaries. It is called Punjab plains. River Jhelum, Ravi, Satluj, Beas, Chenab, the five rivers of tributaries of that enters into Indus river. So they are the tributaries of river Indus. Mostly Indus river is flowing in Pakistan, not in India, but still the tributaries, they are flowing from India. So the Punjab plains, they are mainly dominated by Dobes. When two rivers they merge, they forms an area, and when the two rivers are merging with each other, that area is known as Dobes. Okay. Now second part is, as we know, second river is the Ganga plain. So the middle part is the Ganga plain. It extends from the Ghaggar river, that is flowing from Haryana, tributary of Ganga river, to the Tista river, that is the tributary that enters into Ganga river in West Bengal. So this part is known as Ganga plain. It spreads over the states of this is a bigger part of northern plains. It covers the states of North India mostly, almost all the states, Haryana, Delhi, UP, Bihar, parts of Jharkhand and West Bengal, parts of Jharkhand and West Bengal. They are drained mostly in the eastward by the Ganga and its tributary as it slopes eastward, because the slope is towards east. The land, the plateau area that is in the center of India, it is somewhat up in as compared to the northern plains. That is why the rivers, they are flowing towards the east. They are highly fertile area, agriculturally rich area, highly populated area. Major cities, they are on its banks, as I have told you earlier. Now the eastern part is known as Brahmaputra plain, because river Brahmaputra and its tributaries are flowing from here. It extends from Arunachal Pradesh through Assam, and then it moves from Bangladesh before entering the sea, Bay of Bengal. Now Brahmaputra and its tributaries like Lohit, Radak, Sankosh, they are a part of Brahmaputra plain area. Now the division of the northern plains according to the region, that means four region, there is a variation in the relief features. The area is having different relief features, because of that there are four division, because as I told you that when the rivers are moving from the mountains, they deposit the whatever they are carrying. So the coarser part is deposited on the Shivalik range, and when it is moving downwards, so parallel to the Shivalik range, there is a narrow belt. It is of about 8 to 16 kilometer in width, parallel to the Shivalik range, and this belt is known as Bhabar belt. The remaining pebbles, they are deposited in this part, and all the rivers seems to disappear in this belt. It seems that the rivers, they are disappearing in this belt. Afterwards, again the streams and the rivers, because the river is divided into various streams, and the river and the streams, they re-emerge and create a wet, swampy and marshy region that is called Terai. So when we are moving from Himalayas downwards, first belt is Bhabar, then is below it is Terai area. It was earlier thickly forested area. It was covered with the forest, wildlife, but this area forest has been cleared for the agricultural land, and also to settle the migrants who came to India from Pakistan after partition. Still, there are some of its part is forested, like Dudhwa National Park. It is a part of this Terai area. Now, third part lower to Terai area is Bhangar. So, the largest part of the northern plain consists of older alluvial, that is called Bhangar. Old alluvium means old deposit, that is the deposit that is made by the river. It is older one, not newly deposit. So that is no, that's why this area, that is the river carrying deposition, this area is known as Bhangar. It looks like a terrace, like a uh, there's a window in your house, and there's a slab above it, so it gives like a terrace feature, and it contains calcareous deposits, concur. So they are known as concur because they are white in color, so that's why they are called concurs. So this part is having calcareous deposits, white concrete, small pebbles could be there, little bit of lower to this area is the floodplain area, that is flooding area. It is known as uh, khaddar, like chadar. So this area is renewed every year, because whenever there is a flood, and floods are almost coming every year, so this soil is renewed every year, and the area of this is having a fertile land, and it is best for the intensive agriculture. So this is the two topics that we have covered. first about Himalayan mountain, their divisions, their main benefits, advantage of Himalayas. Now northern plains, their geographically divisions, then regional wise four divisions are there. Now in the next one we are going to study about peninsular plateau, desert area, and coastal plains and island of India. Now thank you. Now